Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Underground, thunder bounce, and I stop the ground like a million elephants, a silverback orangutan. You can't stop the train. Who wants to don't come home?
Welcome to the jungle. We got money. We got everything we want.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue. Run to the hills. Run now. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Hump Day. Yes. Welcome to Hump Day. It's Wednesday, everybody. I'm your host, as always, Pi, joined by my beautiful assistant, Bobby. What's up, Bobby?
What's going on, man? Happy Hump Day.
I know, right? It's we're halfway through the week. One more day to go until the weekend. And for everyone that's just joining us for the first time and may be kind of confused why I say one more day to the weekend, because you only have Thursday to go. Friday is technically the weekend. By the time you've worked out all your plans for the weekend, it's already at the end of the day. So technically one day left until the weekend. Yeah.
'Cause nobody really cares about Friday at work. They just coast through it until
I know,
they get
right?
to the night.
Yeah, you show up on Friday, like it's an easy day. It's like, shit, all you got to do is go in, essentially clean up and go home. So, yeah. And if you're
It's
on...
an awesome song you have in the background, by the way.
Yeah, it's a pretty good song. I like it. If you're on the East Coast, or no, the left coast, the West Coast, good morning. 'Cause it's just the start of the day for you guys. So I guess it's liquid morning, or a liquid breakfast for you guys. So yeah, there's been, I guess, not too much going on this week. There was the whole presidential debate stuff Monday night. That was kind of interesting. I thought it was kind of comical more than anything else. But is what it is. I guess there's two more coming up. The next one's going to be in Washington State somewhere. Is it this Monday that stuff's going on?
I don't follow when it's going to be. I just play the drinking games that go along with it.
You know, I decided not to get drunk. Instead, I just sat back and chilled out with some popcorn. So, almost the same thing. Kinda, maybe. Not really, but... is what it
It's a
is.
lot better with alcohol.
I bet. I think I'm gonna have to play the drinking game, one of these debates, and see how shit-faced I can get. So, how drunk did you get during the debate?
So I had a 6-pack down in the first 15 minutes.
Damn. Holy shit. So it was pretty intense, huh?
Yes.
Now,
yes, it was.
Which one were you playing? Because I know there was quite a few different variations of the drinking game for the debate.
I was playing the one that Mom posted in the ops chat.
Okay. Yeah, I know
Every
there
time
was...
Trump says China, or every time Clinton lies.
There was a debate bingo going around. There was a few different versions of the debate drinking game going around. Well, I guess you achieved the end result regardless of which one you played. It's just to get shit-faced and just ignore the ramblings of the two candidates. But whatever. In your opinion, which is in no way associated with WTF Nation Radio or US Army WTF Moments, who do you think won the debate?
I think Trump won. I'm not really pulling for either candidate because they're both retarded, and my views, like Pi said, no way reflect upon U.S. Army WTF Moments or WTF Nation Radio. But I think Trump won because he kind of stumbled Clinton with the whole email thing.
Yeah, you know, I think there was a lot of missed opportunities. I mean, the whole debate was kind of stupid. It really was comical. But I think Trump threw a few punches that she really didn't recover from. And if you guys were watching the facial cues, I think she got rattled a few times. She looked kind of nervous a couple of times, at least. But whatever. I guess even if you're a professional liar, your face still tells all. Hey, William, the only reason we do the whole disclaimer thing, one, is kind of comical because it is. But two, we in the past, we had said, fuck it, the station's going to endorse Trump. And Redleg got his nuts chewed off by the management for doing so. So unofficially, officially, we support Trump. But officially, we don't support anyone because... we try and be neutral in everything. But there you go.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Oh shit. I got some pretty good stories lined up for you guys. Since we're on the topic of comedy, this shit is hilarious. I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but there is a Mill Spouse Fest 2016 going on at the end of the month. Well, today, actually. Mill Spouse Fest. Depender Fest, essentially. It's going on from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Washington, D.C. It's kind of ridiculous. It says the registration and breakfast between 9:30 and 10. The most successful military families are the ones in which the male spouse is using their own strengths to overcome obstacles in their own way. In this icebreaker, work with other spouses in your age group to identify what you already know and what you are still open to learning. So I guess that's a way to learn different ways how to use your husband's rank. That's how I'm taking it. Then it goes on, but it's got like financial feud, financial planning, employment type stuff, like friendships and then goodbyes and prizes and stuff like that. I lost the top to my dip bottle, so I hope I don't knock that shit over anytime soon. But yeah, it's a Depender Fest going on. Wow. Well, whatever. I guess Dependers need a place to convene around a watering hole. Something cool that I found. There's tiny houses being built for homeless veterans. A group of people in Missouri are working together to build a community of 50 tiny houses that will serve at least 50 homeless veterans. An organization called Veterans Community Project, VCP, is behind the cool new neighborhood, which is being built on an empty lot. 3 veterans started the non-profit themselves and have partnered with other organizations to get the project done and help veterans. Along with support, including the tiny houses themselves and peer counseling, VCP will also work to provide each veteran with everything else a home requires. The goal would be to get veterans straight off the streets and hand them the keys to their fully furnished tiny house, stocked with food, without the veteran having to go through the hassles of waiting for gas, electric, deposits, inspections, and voucher processes. That's what VCP wrote on their website about the project. They also said we would then stabilize them to educate and support them on reintegrating into society, all while treating and addressing their housing barriers as we move them into permanent housing. The 50 houses built by the volunteers themselves and will each be 20 feet long and 240 square feet. It looks like, kind of like them some of the older houses have like them wooden tool sheds kind of out back and stuff. Kind of looks like one of them, like a little workshop. The organization began in 2015 and plans to have the 4 acres of land filled with homes by the winter of 2017. We do this on weekends, holidays, evenings, and whenever we can, said Chris Lawrence, who is providing some of the lumber used to build the tiny homes through an organization she helps called 2x4s for Homes. We're just trying to help make a difference little by little, one board at a time. The VCP organization was started because the founder saw gaps in services when it came to veterans getting the support they need, going from extreme isolation to extreme socialization can be very overwhelming and cause unwanted outcomes. The VCP website wrote about homeless veterans transitioning into support programs. We believe that handing the veteran the keys to their own home and letting them socialize at their own pace is key to a successful outcome. This isn't the first time a group of people have come together to make a neighborhood of tiny houses for veterans. There was one that kind of got completely finished and done. But them houses look a hell of a lot smaller than the ones these guys are doing. So if you're interested in going to check them out, go use the Googleizer and Googleize Veterans Community Project. It looks like them guys are doing some pretty good things. To be honest, I haven't checked them out myself. I just kind of read this article this morning and thought it was pretty good. It's a warm and fuzzy kind of article, knowing that there are people out there trying to do something for homeless vets. It may only be a small-ass house, literally a room, but, I mean, that's really all you need is the basics, right? Is roof over your head, somewhere to lay your head, and somewhere to chow down, maybe shower or some shit. It's better than nothing. Better than living under a bridge, I guess. So
better being at the shelter with a whole bunch of other nasty people around you.
yeah, I know, right? We had a guest on the show at one point. I may get it wrong, but I think his organization deals with service dogs and PTSD or something. And when he got out, wow. So he has a wife, and I think it was like 3 kids, and they lived for like literally a year and a half out of their fucking minivan, which is insane. Like, they lived in their minivan for a year and a half. They traveled literally across country to try and go to a relative's house, but all that fell through for one reason or another, and they ended up having no choice but to live out of the minivan for like a year and a half. So it was kind of insane. So stuff like this, I mean, it may not help for families because it really is pretty freaking small. I mean, if you think 240 feet or 240 square feet is nothing. But for like single dudes or girls that are actually on the streets that have nowhere, or even people coming out that for one reason or another they have nowhere to go, at least this is some type of option. I mean, 50 really isn't a lot, but I mean, at least they're doing something. And you would think if these people are doing something, you would think, maybe they could reach out to some of the bigger companies and make this thing a big thing. So instead of 50, maybe 500, or maybe like branch this thing out into different states and not just in Missouri.
That'd be really cool if it could turn into like a nationwide project.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, like I said, 50 tiny houses, it really isn't much, but it's something. It gets vets off the street, which is always good. So, yeah, having this in every state, and then kind of branching out to every major city, I think would be awesome. Yeah, you're right, Bobby. If you guys have got any opinions, thoughts, questions, concerns, topics you want to talk about, give us a call, 415-889-8367. The phones are open. So, feel free to call in and give us your 2 cents. If you want to talk about a topic we're not talking about, just just call in, bring it up, and yeah, we'll talk about it. I'll give you my thoughts and opinions on it, which really isn't much, but yeah, there you go. There's
Gonna
a
opinions anyway, so
say again. Do what?
I said they're gonna get our opinions anyway.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, there's been a couple of people in Facebook Live that have said, that when they got out, they were kind of homeless or living in the car and stuff. I would kind of like your guys' thoughts on what can be done to help veterans that get out. Like, what led you into that particular situation? Like, was it bad planning on your part? Did you have everything planned and just everything fell through? Was everything okay when you got out and then just someone screwed you over? Like, what happened? Like, what caused you to be into that situation? And then more importantly, what you did to kind of get yourself out. Did you use any resources that were available? Did you come up with resources yourself? Whatever it was, I mean, give me a call. WTF Nation Radio, you're on the air. Oh, maybe not. There we go. WTF Nation Radio, you're on the air.
Hey, bye, it's Vince.
Hey, what's up, Vince?
Okay, so I heard you talking about veterans and getting out and, their shit falling through and becoming homeless and whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I got out in 2011, I had a house with my uncle that I was going to rent that fell through. Then that was like we went from Fort Hood down here to Houston, and we get here, and my uncle's like, "You can't move in here." Shit fell through. The owner that I had the agreement with said, "No, you can't do it. So you're gonna have to find somewhere else to live." So for 3 days we were homeless. We finally found something. One of my family members' landlords let us move into one of his rentals. But after that, we got evicted from there because I wouldn't lie for the guy in court. So the VA found out about it, and there is a program in the VA that helps veterans that are afraid of becoming evicted and homeless. It's called VASH. I don't really know what the VASH stands for. I always thought it was the Veteran Affairs Subsidized Housing, but it's each VA is supposed to have their own VASH program through the housing authority of your county or city. And it's basically Section 8 for veterans. And I mean, I got a 4-bedroom house, and for the first 8 months, I was paying nothing in rent. All I had to do was just pay my my utilities, because I was getting my my GI Bill, and that was basically paying for my my car note and my bills and groceries. But there are programs through the VA. You do have to prove that you got out. You do have to show at least I had to show my DD-214. I had to submit a urinalysis because apparently they don't want to have any illicit drug use.
That's understandable.
On their thing. But the only downside that I saw of that program was because it was through the housing authority, and I don't know how any other housing authority runs their programs, but with the Houston Housing Authority, every 6 months they would come and do a home inspection, and it was basically like your first aunt coming into your house, and if there was a dirty plate in your sink, they would write you up on it. I mean, I had 3 kids in the house, and because their room was, they had just finished cleaning their room, they're like, you're living still. I'm like, the house is being lived in. It's not living in filth. The house. I mean,
Right.
you have to make sure that they clean up after themselves because this is disgusting.
You're starting to break
like-
up, Vince.
Oh, I don't know why. But there are programs. There are programs out there that veterans can get in touch with through the VA. I mean, yeah, the VA sucks as far along as medical benefits and everything, and getting payment for it. But when if you ever need help, I mean, just go down to the VA and ask to speak with a counselor. I mean, it doesn't have to be a mental health counselor. I mean, it could be a social worker. Hey, I'm having these issues. I'm afraid of being evicted, or hey, you know what? I'm homeless. I have a family that I'm trying to take care of. We've been homeless for a couple of weeks. Is there anything that y'all can help me with?
So with
And
this
like I said-
with this VASH program, I just looked it up. It says the HUD VASH provides permanent housing for eligible homeless veterans who are single or eligible homeless veterans with families. Now, their definition of homeless, it's Section 103, which is 42 of the United States Code 11302, and I'll post a link for you guys. But it says, for all purposes of this act, the term homeless individual, and homeless person means an individual or family who lacks a fixed, regular, or adequate nighttime residence, an individual or family with a primary nighttime residence that is a public or private place not designated for or ordinarily used as a regular sleeping accommodation for human beings, including a car, park, abandoned building, bus or train station, airport or camping ground, an individual or family living in a supervised, publicly or privately operated shelter, which is designated to provide temporary living arrangements, including hotels or motels paid for by the federal, state, or local government programs for low-income individuals, or by charitable organizations, congregate shelters, and transitional housing. An individual who reside in a shelter or place not meant for human habitation, and who is existing or exiting an institution where he or she temporarily resides. An individual or family who will imminently lose their housing, including housing they own, rent, or live in without paying rent, or sharing with others, and rooms in hotels or motels not paid for by state, federal, local government programs. A court order resulting from an eviction that notifies the individual or family they must leave within 14 days. The individual or family having a primary nighttime residence that is a hotel or motel where they lack the resources necessary to reside there for more than 14 days. And that's about it. So it isn't just what everyone would assume as homeless, i.e. you're living under a bridge or in a shelter. It also kind of breaks down to if you're getting evicted, if there's been a few times people have messaged the U.S. Army WTF Moments page because they have been evicted or their house is burnt down or something like that, and we've been able to put them up in a hotel for a week or two because of the donations you guys provide. But that would be classed as homeless. So if you're living in your car, that's homeless. So you would be eligible under this program. So it's a good thing. I mean, the program's there, the help is there. I'm assuming, as with most programs, whether it's federal, state, or the VA, whatever the case may be, you're going to have to jump through a bunch of hoops, and it's going to be a lot of back and forth and running around to get everything squared away. Everything they want, you're going to have to provide. But I think in the long run, it's definitely going to be worth it, especially if you have nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, when I did it, I mean, it took, I want to say, 2, maybe 3 months for me to get from the starting point of me first initially taking that UA and getting the process started. Because, I mean, down here, they were like, I mean, you go downtown Houston and you see homeless people everywhere, and honestly, I want to say maybe 50-60% of them are homeless veterans, but nobody wants to freaking deal with going and having to take a urinalysis just to get into a house, because
Right.
I mean, me, I was dirty as fuck. I went in there and I this is back when I carried a bottle of fake piss in my car. And I went in there, I was like, okay, I got to piss? Okay, cool. Let me go get my drink from my car. I went to my car, got my Red Bull, got that fake bottle of piss, put that shit in my pocket. She was like, go pee in the cup. Okay, so I emptied the bottle in the cup. And I pissed in the toilet just to make sure. But not everybody does that. Not everybody thinks that. I mean, I've had people that ask me, "Hey, man, will you help me out with this test? Because I don't feel okay. I don't feel right with buying the fake piss." I used the fake piss to get into that program because it was something that I needed to do. That was one hurdle that I had to do. Then I had to get my DD-214. I mean, even though you have your DD-214 on file with the VA, you still have to submit your DD-214 with this program.
Well, the VA only has your DD-214 if you give it to them at some point in time. They don't automatically have it. I learned that out.
If you are if you are registered with the VA and you get VA benefits, then yes, the VA has your DD-214.
Nope. So when I got out, I was medically retired. So I was already in the VA system because, I went through the Army Med Board. So as soon as the Army gets done with you, they hand everything over to the VA so the VA can give you a percentage before you get out. So I was already in the VA system. And when when I got out, I went to see the VA. They didn't have my DD-214. And then when I came from Bragg to Ohio, they didn't have my DD-214 either. So you need to check to see. Yeah, you need to check to see if they have that shit. There was a couple of questions.
No, I turned my shit in.
Oh no, I had to do it separately.
They weren't going to give me benefits unless I turned in my DD-214.
No, I mean maybe because I was already in the service when they got my paperwork because I was getting med boarded. Maybe they took that as some form of acceptance and proof or whatever the case may be. But I had to both times at Bragg and in Ohio. I had to physically bring them my I actually printed out my DD-214 while I was there, like in one of the counselor's office. But yeah, there's a couple of questions in Facebook Live. One, Taronia says, is this one of the programs that you need a 620 or better credit? It doesn't say anything about credit, and I would assume not, only because you're homeless. Now, if it's such as a program for like you want to buy a house and use the VA home loan thing, yes, that's definitely a 620 credit. But for a homeless thing, I would assume not. No, I don't think credit would matter.
These are the only houses or apartments that you will qualify for if you're going to go through this HUD bash is they are Section 8 housing, and you can find your Section 8 housing. And this is the website that they told me to go to. It's gosection8.com, and it asks you for your city, your state, and your zip code to give you the Section 8 housing in your area. So that way you're not going into like this rich neighborhood trying to get a Section 8 house or trying to get a house that you want. They're not going to give you a house that you want. They're going to send you to this website and, okay, you look for this house. They're going to give you a set amount. I think I got a $1,200 voucher. It was either a $1,200 or a $1,600 voucher that they gave me, and I was to go and look for a $1,200 to $1,600 home on this GoSection8.com, and you basically run through these through all these listings, and some of the houses on the listings look great. these some nice looking houses on the website. Just the house looks nice. You go into the neighborhood, it's in freaking third world.
Right.
It's in the freaking ghetto.
That's the other thing about these programs is a lot of these places, they're Section 8, so they're not the best neighborhoods in the world. Some of them may not even be the best houses in the world. I mean, the houses have to be up to, code because it's federal freaking housing. Well, any house, really. But
Yeah.
the neighborhoods may not be the best in the world, but you have to think about it. You're either living under a bridge or you're living in your car. And if you're single, okay, maybe living out of a car isn't that stressful. But if you've got kids, think of the kids. Any house
Yeah.
at that point is better than being homeless. So once you're in a house, then you can work towards, getting employment, or if you've already got employment, then working towards getting out of there and getting a house that you want in a neighborhood you want to be in. But I mean, the first step is you need a house. So I mean, beggars can't be choosers.
Sit for 6 months in this house, work your ass off, get back on your feet, and then turn around and go find. I mean, hell, you're not going to be paying freaking rent on a freaking $1,200 to $1,600 house if you have kids, a wife and kids, or a spouse and kids. You're not going to be paying rent.
Right.
All you're going to be paying is just your electricity and your gas and your water. So freaking stack that money, the extra money that you're going to be saving on rent. Stack that money, get your bank account nice and fat, and turn around and either go put a nice down payment on a house, pay off some of your freaking debt so you can buy a house.
Yep.
Or go and find a better house in a better neighborhood in a better town and rent there. I mean, hell, my fiance and I just got a house in the freaking woods, 5-bedroom house for $2,000 a month, and I just got a job offer for starting off at $15 an hour.
Oh, that's not
And
bad
I
at all.
was going to do the HUD VASH,
Nice.
but they wouldn't take it because it's not a HUD house or a Section 8 house.
Well,
But
I appreciate your input on this, Vince. It's good to have almost like an SME point of view on some of these topics. I was close to it at one point. Thankfully, it never happened. But I know it happens to more people than it should. So, I mean, it's good getting your opinion on this, man.
yeah, and honestly, it's a very underused program because a lot of people are prideful
Right.
of I don't want to do this, or I don't want to go ask for help, or this isn't me.
Yep.
Just because it's not you doesn't mean that your family needs to go without living in a stable home,
Right.
or in a an apartment. Yeah, you may have neighbors upstairs they're always loud and stomping, but you're not living on the street.
Yep.
This program, and honestly, what my social worker through VASH, what she was telling me was that surprisingly, Michelle Obama was the one that created this, from what she said. I never went and did any research on it to prove it right or wrong, but I mean, hell, I've never heard of it in any of my years. So, hell, she could have, but it was basically to get families off the street.
Yeah.
Veteran families off the street. So, if you're in a bunch, or if you're in a bind and you don't have a place to stay, go down to the VA, talk to a social worker, tell them that you're in fear of being homeless. All you have to say is, I'm in fear of being homeless. I need a place to stay.
Well,
I have kids. I have a wife. They will help you out.
I appreciate the call, Vince. I appreciate you giving out the tips and info, man.
Not a problem.
All righty, brother.
Have a good one.
I'll speak to you soon. Have a good day.
Yep, out.
So there you go. Dale said a few minutes back, you know, there are programs out there, and not just homeless programs, but like programs for essentially everything or most things. Veterans just have to be proactive and go do it. You know, and Vince touched on a very good point. Pride is what stops a lot of people. I mean, there's a couple of ways you can look at this. One, every program the VA offers, you are entitled to, you deserve. That's your service gives you the right to use that. So it's not about pride. It's not about feeling like you're any lower than what you should be because you're using these programs. It's about giving yourself and your family a better life. The second way to look at it is if you don't use these, if you're in a position where you need these programs and you don't use them, you're going to make life worse for yourself because of, you know, whatever happens. Using the housing thing, for example, if you don't use a housing program and possibly get into a house, then you're going to be living on the streets. So how's your pride going to feel then? Like, do you feel like you're the type of person that lives on the streets? Like that's what you're worth, type of thing. So when you have that help available to you, go use it before your situation gets any worse and then causes you more problems. And then you get caught up in the role where you start blaming yourself because you could have done it at a point that would have resulted in you never getting to where you are now. And then you start hating on yourself, and then just it snowballs. Hey, what's up, D-Max?
Hey, so I was just going to weigh in on another issue that kind of has a problem with transition for making enough money to actually keep yourself afloat when you get out initially.
Yeah.
Like, I got retired as well, and the VA was already processing, like, 2 months before my out date. But since their processing time took, like, a year and a half, that really hindered. So I was only getting the 50% retirement from the Army, which was going to, like, $550, I think, and then 60% of that was going to child support. So I literally was only getting like $250 a month to live on. So I was out of a car and had to pretty much bail using getting out orders on the 3-bedroom apartment I had because I was trying to get back with my first wife and she said she was going to move in, type of thing. Like, it just is, a lot of it I think is just time frames and
right.
the seamless processing of paperwork.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like you bring up another good point, man, is the whole financial thing. Like, so as everyone knows, I was a battalion retention NCO before I got out. Like, that was my last position. And everyone I would speak to that was getting out had some kind of plan. I think there was maybe a few people that was like, I'm going to kind of wing it. But for the majority of the time, people said, hey, I'm going to college, or hey, I've already got a job lined up, whether it be a family business or, you know, a job's already there for them. And when I got out, I figured, you know, seeing all these people and what they've done and what they got planned, it should be pretty easy for me because, you know, I've been immersed in that kind of mindset, so I'm good to go. Yeah, I was wrong. From what I went through, which really wasn't that bad compared to some of you, for example, like you and Vince, it's not easy for anyone getting out at all. I was lucky enough while I was still in, like a month and a half, 2 months before I got out, I was able to go for a job interview on post as a contractor. And they were like, oh, hell yeah, you know, we'll take you in a heartbeat. You know, a few weeks before you get out, just come back, see us. We'll make sure all the paperwork's set up so you can somewhat transition straight in. Well, I got out and there was like a month gap between me getting out and me actually starting working. But I mean, even that
culture shock.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I still worked on post. I literally worked 5-minute walk away from where I was walking while I was in. I could see the building I used to work in. But I mean, yeah, it was a huge culture shock. I mean, everyone I was working with were veterans. So, I mean, they all had the mentality, but it was just different. It was just the way you do things, and it's completely freaking different. And I mean, I struggled just that alone. And then on top of that, I still wasn't making enough money to compensate from what I was making, and it caused problems. It caused big problems. And eventually I was able to work all that out, and then the VA, extra VA shit that I claimed kicked in, and that fixed essentially everything. But yeah, that timeline that you wait between when you get out and when you get your claim back, if it gets approved, yeah, it's hard. It's rough because not only are you adjusting to life, but you're adjusting to the financial stuff.
50% from them, and then I went back. It took another 2 years, got 70, and then I had went on. I know not everybody likes Wounded Warrior Project, but I went on a retreat, and they actually had some guys there that have done the same thing and are at 70%, and they told me about doing IU, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And they're like, you file for unemployability and just talk to psychiatrists, psychologists, they evaluate you, determine, and then boom, it took another 4 years, I think, and got 100%. And now I can actually just focus on my kids and like actually be a dad.
You know, Charlie in Facebook Live kind of brings up a good thought, I guess. She says, there needs to be some improvement on helping retired soldiers transition their military job into a civilian job. My ex-husband has a hard time with the civilian side of work after being medically retired. Between his 50% disability and me working full-time, and they're a family of 4, they barely scrape by.
See, that's the other issue I'm talking about. I had to push for 100% because there's no freaking way.
Right. Yeah.
With my brain injury and PTSD, I don't want to be around people.
You know, there's a big difference between people just ETSing because they're just done with the army or they just want to move on to the next chapter of their life, and between people that serve 20, 30, whatever years that are finally retired, and between people that get medically retired. I would say 99% of the time, people that get medically retired didn't want to get out at all. So they have a hard time of actually accepting the fact that they have to get out. And I was one of them. I didn't want to get out. I had big freaking problems holding on to the army after I got out.
Because you're always looked at like a broke dick.
Right. I mean, and you always got that mindset that you can still carry on and you want to stay in, and they're kicking you out against your will type of thing. Even though it may be for good medical reasons, I mean, you're not in the mindset that you want to get out, so it's just hard to accept. But
some asshole doctor has to say that you can't stay in anymore because of this, and this, when you think you're fully capable of doing the job you're still doing.
Right. I mean, I got my back got all fucked up, and so like I couldn't run anymore. I couldn't do any of that shit. And the doc was like, "Yeah, you're not going to be able to do any of the physical stuff." So I told him, it's like, well, I'm a retention guy. Like, I know that you can put me to the med board and they can suggest that you keep me in but reclass me and then give me a P3 profile so I won't have to do any of that physical shit and just fucking make me a fucking career counselor. I mean, ain't that fucking hard? I've already done the job for like a year and a half. I've already gone to fucking, retention schools and shit like that. I already know what the fuck I'm doing. All my career counselors up at group are fucking fine with it. They want me to reclass. And he was like, no, it ain't going to happen. Essentially, I think the reason was because I was at that time where the army was kicking people out because they just needed to downsize.
They had to make their MTEL.
Right. So I kind of got screwed in that way. But yeah, I didn't see any problem with me transitioning to become a career counselor of a P3. I mean, nothing wrong with that. But it just wasn't going to happen.
I've been pissed going from infantry to something like that. But
yeah. But I mean, if you want to stay in, I mean, you're going to be willing to take that hit. But yeah, there definitely needs to be some kind of better transitioning, especially when it comes down to people that are getting out through med board.
And ACAP's garbage.
Oh, it's stupid. It's ridiculous.
Nowadays it's better. I went through it. I went through it about 5 months ago, and it's a whole week of seminars where like the Department of Labor and shit comes down.
I had
and
that
they
shit.
teach you how to write resumes, and they teach you how to bring your work into civilian terms for your resume. And even down at the center we have here, even after you're done with ACAP, they offer so many classes that you can go to that can help you. They help you write a federal resume. You need a financial planner, they'll give you a class on financial planning. Just all this is just available to you.
I had a week long, almost like a seminar, like every day, throughout the day, multiple speakers would come in. Like there'd be people from colleges. There was some chicks there that would help with your resume that really didn't help. Like they gave you some kind of presentation saying, hey, this is how you should do your resume. Computers are in front of you, start building it. These are the websites you can go to that can help with keywords and all that stuff. And obviously we're here if you've got questions. And it was useless. That resume stuff was useless. I went through the SOCOM Care Coalition, and they hooked me up. Some lieutenant colonel, like retired dude, wrote my resume for me. So I guess I kind of lucked out there. But in the actual seminar, they were useless. Like even people left to the left and right of me, like fucking, they were useless, absolutely useless. I don't think I gained anything beneficial from that week of being there. Nothing at all. It's stupid.
I know there's some really good companies, though, that are specifically looking for veterans to hire, too.
Yes. But see, here's the thing. The information doesn't get put out there. Or it does, but it's put out in such a shitty way, it doesn't reach the target audience. So I think part of this ACAP, someone mentioned reverse boot camp. I don't know what they mean by that, but in ACAP, if you put in these job sites and no shit, make people apply for 3 jobs, unless they can produce a fucking letter where it says, yeah, we're already hired you, your start date is X days after you get out. If they don't have that, then make them apply for 3 fucking jobs during that week of ACAP and have them counselors there available to help them no shit build their resume specific to the job or the career field that they're going for. And if it means you hand walk them fucking through it, then so what? Hold their fucking hand. At least you're doing something productive and you actually no shit helping them instead of standing there and just waiting for people to fucking ask to help. Because we all know how soldiers are. No motherfucker's going to ask for help because they don't want to fucking embarrass themselves around their peers. They don't want to look fucking dumb. And you can say, oh yeah, forget that. That shit doesn't matter. It's about your future. You can say that shit all day long. No one's going to fucking ask for the help. Maybe 1 or 2 here and there, but no one gives a shit. It's not in, I guess not, it's not in the DNA to fucking ask for help. It's all about doing it yourself. So
Yeah, they had the Federal Bureau of Prisons, or what that, they came down and they have this thing at the ACAP Center. It's called Soldier for Life now, where you go up to this prison and you walk around. They give you a tour of what your job would be. Well, 18 people went down here in Fort Polk, and at the end of the tour, the warden's like, I offer each and every one of you a job right now if you want it when you get out.
nice. See, stuff like that. I mean, that's what needs to be happening. Like, actually reach out to these companies and jobs that want to hire vets, and set up like a day walk around at the company. This is what your job would be. Like I can't think of what it would be called, but something like that. Like actively helping people look for jobs. Because this seminar type style doesn't work. It really doesn't. If it did, you would be hearing veterans praise it day in, day out because it works, but it doesn't. It may
But
have
most of the
gotten...
time, if you're... Oh, sorry, Ty.
No, go for it, man.
Most of the time when you're medically retired out, you mostly will have an AW2 rep. You may not even know it. You got to track it down, but they can be helpful in that area.
Yes.
As well as, I believe, you can basically still file for unemployment.
Yes, you can.
Which would give you a little extra edge until you get something.
You know, I'm not sure how that unemployment stuff works, to be honest. I had a bunch of people tell me to go apply for it. I know I applied for, I think it was unemployment, and I got denied. And then I went ahead and applied for disability, and I got approved for disability, but denied for unemployment. I'm not sure how that works exactly.
I never applied for it out of pride, but I had other friends that have done it.
Right.
And it worked for them for a little while.
Yeah. I mean, especially when you'll get out, when you're first transitioning, my advice would be apply for everything you can.
And harass the hell out of the VA to get your shit processed.
Yeah. It will take, on average, about a year for your stuff to be processed. Sometimes maybe a couple of months quicker, sometimes a couple of months longer, but on average, you can count about a year for your stuff to get processed.
And never miss an appointment, otherwise you're just screwing yourself.
Yep. If they ask for additional information, make sure you send it to them ASAP, and make sure you get some kind of like receipt that you have sent it. Like make sure they sign for it. Every time I sent my stuff, I done it like registered, so whoever receives it has to sign for it. Make sure you send it like as soon as possible. Appointments, like D-Max said, turn up for every single one, because if you miss one, they just scratch it off, say that you refused or you're a no-show, and then your case will go all the way back to the beginning, and they won't start it on their own. They'll wait for you to contact them and say, hey, where's my stuff? Then they'll say, oh, well, you missed an appointment. Would you like to go ahead and restart your case? What the fuck? What do you mean restart my case? And then it starts from the beginning again. So, yeah.
And like you got mentioned earlier in the chats, we were bringing up your DD-214. The member 4 copy is really the only copy anyone is going to recognize.
Yep.
So when you get that one, make sure you make tons of copies of that and keep one safe, and maybe everyone on you. I don't know. Safety deposit box one, along with a copy of medical records, because if you try to get those out of whatever storage warehouse they're in, it'd take you 2 years to get a copy.
Yep. I got like an I Love Me type book that has, no shit, 30 copies of my DD-214. And then I got a couple stashed around other places. Yeah, don't lose that. Or I mean, you can get another copy, but it's an arse pain to do so.
I mean, if you're retired, you could probably go to your RSO and post and get a copy pretty easy.
Right. And I know you can like order one from online. I think if you've if you've uploaded it somewhere, man, I'd have to check the details. But I know you can print it off. You can print it off online. So if you put it somewhere, I can't remember where exactly. I'm gonna have to check on that stuff. But I know for a fact when I was at the VA, I printed my DD-214, printed it off. Now I don't know if I
the VA docs, as long as it's been digitally input, I think.
Maybe that's what it was.
The Army is switching to a digital system too.
Yeah.
But that's probably going to be a while out.
Right. But yeah,
I know at Madigan they've been bringing in tech guys to switch that over.
That thing's sacred. You'll need that for all jobs, for everything. Like if you ever go to any federal or state institution for anything, like as far as help, you'll need that. If you go to the VA, you'll need that. Obviously for jobs, you'll need that. What else? Home loans, you'll need that. Like anything, everything you can think of applying for, you'll probably need your DD-214.
I was going to look up the employers looking for military, but
there's USA Jobs. Oh, Eddie also says if you scan your DD-214 into USA Jobs, it'll be there, so you can always go there and print it off. But USA Jobs,
yeah, that's one of them. I was thinking of.
That's a good place to go look for jobs. Also, the job I got when I got out, I got that through Indeed, INDEED.com. It's more of
That's what I use.
Yeah, it's more of I guess it's more tech orientated, but they do have a whole bunch of other jobs in there as well, like other fields.
And it's not necessarily linked straight to veterans, but it gives you a wide variety of jobs choose from.
You can also search like by area. So like I was searching by Fort Bragg specifically on Post and stuff, and there was a whole bunch of jobs on there, like a shit ton. So yeah, if you're looking for a job, check out USA Jobs. Check out Indeed. What else? I was part of a mailing list. I'm not sure if I'm still on it, but I'm pretty sure I could find the details of it. I don't know if it's still active or not, but the guy that started this mailing list, he worked for some kind of organization, and he would constantly be asked by veterans as well as by companies, like, hey, do you guys have any job for veterans? Or, hey, do you have any veterans for these jobs? So what he decided to do is put together this mailing list. So you'd get an email once a week, and it would list all the jobs available. And as soon as the job was filled, it'd be taken off the list. And it had everything. A lot of it was geared specifically towards like contractor type stuff. But there were some like not so much military type jobs. So like civilian type stuff. But geared towards
I just sent
veterans.
Bobby a link.
Say again?
I just sent Bobby a link for the majority of main corporations looking for military experience.
There you go, military.com. We'll make sure we post that link. When I post the podcast after the show, we'll post all these links in that podcast area-ish type place as well. So you guys can check that out or reference it at a later date. Hey, D-Max, I appreciate your input, brother.
Oh, there's one more, shooter jobs, if you actually want to do contracting, but that's a little harder to get going.
Oh, really? I've never heard of that.
And a little bit more expensive.
Yeah, you got to pay for your own stuff. Most of the time. All right.
I appreciate your input, D-Max.
All right. Well, take care.
All righty, brother. You have a good day.
See you,
All right,
D-Max.
talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. So there's a plethora of places you guys can go to check out jobs and stuff. We here, as you guys probably worked out, are not so much of a job helping entity, I guess. I mean, we like to help when we can, and if we can, but I guess our main thing is a media entity. But if you guys ever run into any like major problems or troubles, then send us a message to our Facebook page, the WTF Nation Radio Facebook page. I mean, you can also do it on US Army WTF Moments. And we'll try and point you in the right direction as best as possible. And if we can't kind of give you any solid advice of where to go or what to check out, we can more than likely send you to someone that can. Now, that doesn't mean have us do all your work for you. I mean, we're all big boys and girls here. So, I mean, go out and do your research. Go check stuff. Go use the Googleizer. I mean, he's your best friend. But if you're running into walls every direction you go, then give us a shout. Maybe we have something that you haven't run across. But there you go. So I hope over this first segment, we've kind of helped you guys in some kind of way, shape, or form. I mean, after all, that's all we're about, is information and kind of getting all this stuff out to you guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick music break because I'm out of coffee. I need to go take a leak. So, yeah, check out some of this music from Redcon 1, and we will be right back.
What's going on, y'all? It is me, Soldier Hall with Redcon 1 Music Group, and allow me to introduce to y'all Rounds Down Range Reloaded.
Redcon 1 Music.
They say I'm not the same, I never knew I made a change. Gone for many months, can't mess with someone's boo. They say I'm not the same, I never knew I made a change. Gone for many months, can't mess with someone's brain. What seemed like it's pain, maybe nothing to you. If you seen what I feel, might change your point of views. Just watching the news don't make you an expert. Think I plan to be a jerk, wear my heart up on my shirt. Think I asked for these bills, cause of our reputation. How can you understand with these tribulations? All the trials that we face, hard to stay patient. We just wanna feel peace, give a safe haven. Never been in my boots to feel the situation. Don't mention stipulations or the destination.
But I gotta give you some credit. You came to aid me like the man could stay. You got this message.
I'm here to tell the world that I'm feeling okay. I know I'm not the same again, I'm right, I made a change. I can't tell if I change for the better, but the people all around changing like the weather. Throughout the storms, can't feel the sunlight. Gotta keep my head high, gonna be alright. I can't tell if I change for the better, but the people all around changing like the weather. Throughout the storms, can't feel the sunlight. Gotta keep my head high, gonna be alright.
And I told them I'm a changed man, and then they started judging me. When I said I was fucked up, everyone was loving me. Everything was lovely. Had much less stress, had a lot less love, but a lot more sex. And I guess that's the price you pay for growing up. Fast lane, never slowing up, now we're blowing up. Rep your set, throw it up, always gotta show 'em up. Fake friends at your funeral, only ones that showing up. Because real friends protect you until they don't respect you. Because real friends protect you until they don't respect.
Redcon 1 Music.
Real friends protect you until they don't respect you. They saying that I changed and I have so much potential. Now my life is uneventful. Just me and my notebook, my team and my pencil. And I don't need no one else. It's just me and myself. I agree with myself. Me and I, see an eye to eye. I go get it. I evolve. Tell me, y'all, did I change for the better?
I can't tell if I change for the better, but the people all around changing like the weather. Throughout the storms, can't feel the sunlight. Gotta keep my head high, gonna be alright. I can't tell if I change for the better, but the people all around changing like the weather. Throughout the storms, can't feel the sunlight. Gotta keep my head high, gonna be alright.
I couldn't stay the same, I had to make a change. Now I see my goals in life are in my range. Been through the ups and downs and felt the pain. Road to destruction, I was in the fat lane. Me, myself, and I, we the only ones to blame. So-called friends were gone quick as they came. It was hard, but I had to learn the hard way. You gotta change for the better, for a better day. Some people can't understand that. Used to run with the wolves till it was time to leave the pack. Some change for the worst, heart turned black. That's sad, that's whack, a well-known fact. I keep my head up high even when I'm down. Spread motivation to whoever come around. Come and get it, there's plenty enough to share. Mandatory that I spit it and give you this health care.
I can't tell if I change for the better, but the people all around changing like the weather. Throughout the storms, can't feel the sunlight. Gotta keep my head high, gonna be alright. I can't tell if I change for the better, but the people all around changing like the weather. Throughout the storms, can't feel the sunlight. Gotta keep my head high, gonna be alright.
This is WTF Nation Radio.
What's up, guys? Welcome back. So I hope you refilled on your coffee, took a leak, and maybe grabbed some donuts. I don't know. But in any case, we're back for the second portion. Redcon 1 Music Group, man. They got some good music. I mean, I don't like all of their songs, but a lot of their stuff. Just great stuff, man. Great stuff. So if you've never heard of Redcon 1 Music Group, you don't know who they are, what they do, they sing kind of songs like that. Warfighter music. What's warfighter music? Well, warfighter music is taking your experiences and putting it into words. And they kind of do the hibbity hop rap type thing. But yeah, they did do some great stuff. Go check the YouTubes and search for Redcon 1 Music Group, and you'll find all kinds of stuff on there. So go check them out for show. Moving on, I found an article while just before the show about two Fort Irwin soldiers. These freaking shitbags. No, Bruce, I didn't empty my spitball. I found the lid for it, so this ain't gonna fall out anyway. So these two shitbags Ridiculous. These two guys were charged on Tuesday with murders. With murder in the slayings of a California couple and family friend who were discovered after the couple's 6-year-old daughter called police. Army PFC Joshua Acosta, who's 21, and Frank Felix, who's 25, were each charged with 3 counts of murder, and Acosta also faces possible sentencing enhancements for personal discharge of a firearm causing death. Now, let me sidetrack for a second. He's going to possibly face sentencing enhancements for personal discharge of a firearm causing death. By definition, isn't that murder? Like,
I would think so.
Yeah. So he's being charged with murder, but he's also going to face sentencing enhancements for murder. Like, that makes no freaking sense. Only in California. Acosta and Felix were friends with the couple's daughter and attended furry events, where some participants dress up in colorful animal costumes, according to the friends and their social media pages. Prosecutors allege that Acosta was the gunman in the killings of Jennifer Yost, her husband Christopher Yost, and their friend Arthur Boucher. A district attorney's statement said the killings occurred when Acosta and Felix entered the Yost's Fullerton home early on Saturday. Arraignment was expected later Tuesday. Neither man has been reachable for comment while being held in jail since the weekend. The district attorney's office made no mention of a 17-year-old girl also taken into custody by Fullerton police in the case. After the bodies were discovered on Saturday, police and Jennifer Yost's 17-year-old daughter, Kaylin Goodwin Yost, was missing. When the teen's arrest was announced, police also said the daughter had been located, but did not say whether she was the teen in custody. Police were summoned to the home Saturday by the couple's younger daughter. She was not harmed, nor was the 9-year-old sister. Melinda Giles said she became friends with Jennifer Yost after meeting her and her daughter last year at a gathering of the furries. She said she also saw Felix and Acosta at furry events and had met Felix at the Yost family home. She said Jennifer Yost told her several weeks ago that she had forbidden Felix from seeing her daughter. To protect her daughter, Chris and Jen Yost were like, "We don't want you to be friends with our daughter anymore," Giles said on Monday, adding that the couple was warm and generous and recently helped her move into her new home. "It is really sad because they didn't deserve that. Those little girls didn't deserve to wake up to dead parents." And that's pretty much it. But if these guys did do that, I hope someone in prison hooks them up in the best way possible.
I hope they get raped every day while in prison by the whole cell block.
Yeah, I mean, I even at times I even think that's letting them off easy. Like, isn't there a way to like torture people in prison? I don't know.
I bet we could think of a way.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure someone can hook them up. But yeah, that's freaking ridiculous. What is going on with people nowadays, man?
Like, you're pissed off because someone says you can't see my daughter, so you go and kill them.
Yeah. I mean, there was no mention of actually what the motive was, but I mean, I would say that's probably a pretty good guess. Another story that I guess was flying around, I guess the beginning of this week, last week. A lot of stuff went on last week. We're kind of seeing like the tail end of a lot of this stuff. A high-ranking Air Force Space Command officer who was charged with rape and other crimes, was found dead in his Colorado home after civilian police received a report of a suicide. Good, is what I say. Saves everyone some money, and the piece of shit gets what he deserves. The body of Colonel Eugene Coffey? C-A-U-G-H-E-Y. Yeah, I've got no idea. 46, was found Sunday at his off-base home in Colorado Springs. Authorities haven't said how he died. Coffey was relieved of his duties in June 2015 after the rape investigation began. The Air Force said his court-martial was scheduled for October 17th. The officers found him dead and were responding to a report of suicide. The coroner's office said it could be 4 to 6 weeks before the findings of an autopsy are released. Coffey had been the vice commander of the 50th Space Wing at Schriever, I think that's how you pronounce it, Schriever Air Force Base outside Colorado Springs. The unit operates military communications and weather satellites, as well as global positioning system satellites, which have broad civilian and military uses. Coffey was accused of raping a woman in late 2014 or early 2015. He was also charged with adultery, indecent filming or photography, dereliction of duty, and conduct unbecoming of an officer. Prosecutors accused him of photographing his exposed genitals while in uniform and groping women twice. His civilian attorney, Ryan Coward, said Coffey was looking forward to his day in court and had been participating in his defense. I think this surprised everybody, Coward said, adding that his client had served honorably for 20 years. Well, obviously not if he's up on rape charges. Well, I guess you can't say that. Innocent until proven guilty and all that kind of stuff. This is just a very tragic event that occurred for him and his family. Coffey's family had no comment. If you want some background on this guy, he joined the Air Force in 1993. He said he survived the September 11th terror attack on the Pentagon, according to a story on the Schriever Air Force Base website. I was a captain inside the Pentagon that morning when a plane crashed into the west side of the building. Now, do you really survive a terrorist attack? Now, I don't know where exactly this guy was in the building, but do you survive a terrorist attack if you were on the east side of the building? Like the complete and absolute opposite of where the attack took place. Like you couldn't be any further away in that building if you tried.
I don't think that he should have to put that he survived it, because obviously he's still alive, so who really cares?
That would be the definition of surviving an incident. Now,
yeah, exactly.
I would say I survived it if I was in the portion of the building that got hit. So if I had to crawl through some rubble, or I actually even got like smoke and crap all over me as I was running or some shit, that's surviving, because you were close enough for it to actually impact you physically. Being somewhere else in the building, that just makes you lucky. That doesn't make you surviving a particular incident. But
yeah, it makes sense. I don't think he survived it.
Yeah,
I think he should have been at the Pentagon when the terrorist attack took place, but he didn't really survive anything.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, fuck that guy. I'm glad he well, now I sound all judgmental again. I know he's innocent until proven guilty. But I would say 9 times out of 10, if you have a high-ranking officer being brought up on no shit charges like this, I'm pretty sure there's some kind of thorough investigation that's already taken place, and there's some type of evidence that strongly suggests it did happen. Because, I mean, after all, we're talking about a high-ranking officer. So there's something that could destroy someone's career. So I don't think, if there wasn't tangible evidence, I don't think it would go this far. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume he was guilty. Crucify me all you want. But, I mean, if he was guilty, then he deserves everything he gets. My little doggy's come to see us. He's just off camera. You can see the top of his head. There you go. Come to get petted. What's up? Yeah. But yeah, fuck that guy. Here's a kind of good one. So in today's world, we're all about technology. Everyone's like glued to their phones. Have you ever like gone somewhere and you like take a few steps and you're like, my phone, where is it? And like you automatically turn around to pick it up before you go anywhere. It's the age of technology. Well, a West Point scholar says team bonding, the bedrock of military effectiveness, is being undermined by electronic distractions. He talks a little bit about some nonsense. And then he says, mobile devices, the internet, and social media allow individuals to lead online lives disconnected from their environment, community, and teams around them. With their faces buried in smartphones and computers, many spend most of their day connected to an online community from which they disconnect only when necessary. Too often, it seems real life gets in the way of their online life. And it's not a generational thing. At playgrounds, I see iParents glued to their handhelds, obviously oblivious to their kids and parental counterparts. The impact of all of us living in an online world has been identified in professional sports, where NBA players spend their half times scrolling through Twitter. In academic institutions, where students' digital distractions reduce their learning, and on sidewalks in towns across America, where citizens look like they're having staring contests with their mobile devices, rather than acknowledging those around them. I'm still baffled that rest stops along some highways have been renamed to text stops. I've never heard of that. Maybe.
Yeah, that I have never seen that on a highway or freeway.
Yeah, maybe because I don't travel enough. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but I've just never seen or heard of it.
I'll let you know on my 34-hour journey back home if I see any text stops.
If you see it, you gotta take a picture of it as well and then text it to us.
Oh, I will, definitely.
This growing social norm has made its way to combat, hoping to ease the burden of constant rotations in and out of combat zones during a protracted war. The military brought much of society to the battlefield. Smartphones, internet cafes, social media, and takeout fast food became as omnipresent in Iraq and Afghanistan as in Middle America. These new creature comforts are focused on individual soldiers' wants and motivation rather than on small teams. This individual focus, combined with immediate access to family, friends, and communities outside of the military, is the path to failure for team building. This is no small thing, he says. Building social cohesion among small teams is the most important thing the military does. History and research have shown that the close bonds formed by soldiers are the dominant reason we fight and prevail on the battlefield. And then he goes on like a little bit more. We may hit that in a few minutes. But I kind of wanted to hit on, I guess, his overall point. So this dude thinks that we're all spending too much time on our phones and not enough time building the bonds with each other. Now, I only recently got out, and where, yes, we may be on the phones quite a bit, we still had a pretty good bonding experience, especially in my freaking team. I mean, I'm out now. I've been out for about 2 years. Yeah, like 2 years now. And shit, I still keep in contact with some of the guys, like most of the guys. I think there's maybe one or two people that I kind of lost contact with, that I got to get back in contact with. But I mean, still keep in contact with them. So if we didn't have that freaking bond, we still wouldn't be in contact with each other. So I don't know. I can see what this guy is saying. And I think there's times or situations that definitely digital devices kind of interrupt some type of bonding experience. I mean, if you want to go a little bit further, if you look at just like for people with families and stuff, or even without families, if you go home to see the parents and stuff like that, everyone's on their phones. You know, no one really has that kind of sit down, messing around without the phones. I mean, look, if you're one of these people that kind of has a get together over the weekend with family or friends or whatever and play board games or Cards Against Humanity, when it's not someone's turn and they're just kind of you guys are sitting there drinking, playing the game, are they on their phone or not? I can see how that's a distraction and it takes away from the bonding, because instead of laughing and joking and kind of bullshitting with each other or making fun of the game or whatever the case may be, they're instead glued to their phone. So I can see that. But I don't think it's a huge impact on the military or the way life is. If anything, I think it kind of makes it better. I mean, yes, you're going to have your extreme cases where people are constantly glued to the phone. But, I mean, just generally speaking, I don't think it's an issue. What do you think, Bobby?
I don't really think it's an issue, because think of how long recalls would take if people didn't have phones, or how hard it would be to get in contact with your team leader, push out information to 15 different guys if you weren't allowed to use your phones during the middle of the day.
Right. I mean, I don't think the article's bashing using the phones. I think it's more in excess. You know, like, for example, motor stables on Mondays. Instead of, you know, supposedly PMCS in your trucks and bullshitting with the guys and girls around you, that's building, you know, teamwork. You'll get some dudes that are just like sit in the cab or whatever and just chill on their phone instead of bullshitting with everyone. I think that's where the article kind of hits on that the bonds being broken by digital devices.
Yeah, that is some bullshit. I mean, I haven't really myself ran into the problem, because motor stables, we PMCS our shit and then bullshit until the platoon sergeant or XO wanted all the shit done right and would say, okay, you're good to go, and we'd bounce out and go do other stuff. So no one really had time to be on their phones, because we just wanted to get out of the motor pool so quick.
Right.
But I could see that being on the phones could ruin some camaraderie about it, but it also helps you keep in touch. Like you said, you've been out for 2 years, and it helps you keep in touch with some of the guys that you were with. Me, myself, I've been out for a month and a half now, and I still keep in touch using my phone with these people that I can't go see in person. So.
Right. Yeah, you know, technology is a beautiful thing. Like this, right now. I know for a fact there's people that I know, you know, from when I was in, that watch the show. There's actually been, I think, 4 people that I didn't have contact with. Like, I knew them, we'd mess around all the time, we'd kind of bullshit with each other. But, you know, we didn't set up that line of communication before I left, or it didn't happen for whatever reason. But they see me on this thing, and now we've kind of made that connection. So now we kind of keep in touch. And I mean, they're on the East Coast, and it's during lunchtime. So without the phone and them kind of saying, "Oh, hey, what's this idiot doing? Oh shit, I know that guy," then we wouldn't have kind of made that connection. So I kind of understand where this guy's coming from, what he's saying about this stuff. I agree with him to a certain extent. for the extreme cases like the Joe sitting in the cab or the truck or whatever, just bullshitting on his phone rather than bullshitting with everyone else and enjoying the suck. Yeah, I agree with that. But for the most part, no. I think with the amount of technology and how widespread it's become, I think it's more beneficial than it is derogatory. But that's just my opinion. But there you go. Speaking of opinions and how widespread communication has become, did you hear about what the Marines doing, Bobby?
You know, I saw the little glimpse of the article, but I didn't really get too far into it. But from the headline, I don't know why they're doing it.
Yeah. All right, boys and girls. So get this. The Marine Corps, the few, the proud, the Marines. That slogan may be no more. The Marine Corps has always been an elite fighting force, but it may have outgrown its current recruiting slogan. This is coming from the Marine Corps Times. So the Corps is exploring the possibility of using a new tagline with the service's upcoming advertising campaign, which is slated to launch next year, said Lieutenant Colonel John Caldwell, who's a spokesman for the Marine Corps Recruiting Command. The few, the proud, does a great job of distinguishing ourselves from other branches and making us prestigious to recruits, but it doesn't say anything about what we do or why we exist. We believe the new campaign products require a unique tagline to achieve the effort's objective. Now, ever since I guess I've known about the United States Marine Corps, I've always known it to be the few, the proud, the Marines. And that's probably because that slogan has been around, I think it's since 1977. So that shit's only been around for a couple of years. But now they want to change it. He goes on to say, the new products are going to frame everything that we do as a fight that we intend to win. Caldwell did not say specifically what the new advertising campaign will show, but he said it is based off 3 concepts: fighting self-doubt to become a Marine, fighting the nation's battles, and fighting for what's right in our communities. Marine Corps Commandant General Robert Neller has already approved the new advertising strategy, which could include a new tagline at the end of the recruiting materials that would replace the few, the proud. You have a narrative and it ends with a certain punctuation mark. We want that punctuation marker to be aligned with the message throughout the ad. A tagline is an element of the new creative. Oh my gosh, I don't know. My brain shut down. What we're looking for is consistent messaging from the beginning to the end of all those ads. So not to introduce a different or an incomplete thought associated with the new material. Yeah. So the few, the proud, the Marines have been in use since 1977, although it has not been the sole recruiting slogan. In the past 40 years, if everybody could get in the Marines, we wouldn't be Marines, and we're looking for a few good men were put to use during the same time frame. Now, the article kind of goes on for a little bit more, but they also say that the whole integration of females into combat arms is not the reason they are doing this. It doesn't say if the tagline or slogan is going to have any relevance or direction or statement towards females being in. But I guess it's due to come out later this year or early next year. But that's about it. So what's your guys' thoughts on the Marines changing this slogan? I know it's kind of stupid. It's just a freaking slogan. But it's kind of a big deal, especially for the Marine Corps. They've had this thing for like 40 years. So is it like a bad move to replace this thing? Or should they just do what they have been doing and keep this as like the slogan, but introduce other kind of taglines in there? Like if everyone could be a Marine, then we wouldn't be Marines. I mean, that's a pretty good quote to throw in there. I think the few, the proud, the Marines is a big thing for them. I mean,
yeah, it should stay in there. I mean, if someone said, "Hey, the Army's changing their slogan," and then everybody'd be like, "Oh, again, cool."
Yeah, exactly. Like the
Marines, that's tradition. You don't. That's over 40 years.
Yeah,
I think, or almost 40 years.
You know, and I think that's one thing the Marine has over any branch of service is the fact that they are all about tradition. I mean, everything about them kind of oozes tradition and pride. I mean, look at their Class A's or the Blues, whatever they call them. I mean, them things are freaking, in my opinion, phenomenal. They look freaking spot on.
The best looking ones in the military.
Oh, for sure, hands down. Their whole demeanor and the pridefulness they have of being Marines. The tradition. Like, if you ask a general member of the public, hey, describe the Marines for me, you may get a few kind of wazoo crazy ones out there, but I mean, generally you're gonna see tradition, smart, just all them kind of words that would embody a Marine that everyone would think of. You look at the Army, not so much. I mean, the Army's kind of looked at as the sloppier branch of service. I mean, it's the workhorse, but the Marines is the distinguished branch. So why would you mess with the motto or the slogan? Yeah, Eric, I agree, man. They should add to it, but not change it. They should keep that, but just add another like tagline in there. I think that's the way to go. But it looks like they're going to change it. I wonder if they essentially put out a survey asking the Marines themselves if they want to change this shit, or if it's just another good idea fairy at the top looking for promotion and just a bullet point on his OER. I think
More than likely the last one. That's normally how it happens.
Yeah. They're going to make this change, see that it's not sitting well with anybody, and then everyone at the top says, oh, well, that was a bad idea. Who made that idea? It wasn't me. And then they fingered the dude that came up with that shit. And, it's a bullet point, but it's going to be a bad bullet point. And, your career's done. But
you're single-handedly responsible for fucking up the recruitment.
Yeah, I know, right?
Of the U.S. Marines.
Yeah, I think it's such a what's the word I'm looking for? Not figure point. Such a marker, like I don't know what I'm talking about. So it's such a big thing in Marine tradition that's been there. I think it'd be wrong to change it. I mean, once something's been that way for so much time, it kind of becomes permanent. And I think that point happened like years ago.
If you look at the Marines, they hardly ever change their uniforms. They hardly ever change anything that has to do with their culture. You look at like the Army, we change uniforms once every 5 to 10 years. We change our slogans. We change our dress uniforms.
Oh, yeah. I mean, fuck, look at just the everyday general uniform. It went from BDUs to fucking brain dump. What's that shit called? That fucking stupid stone camouflage bullshit.
Oh, ACUs?
There we go. Went from BDUs to ACUs, and then within a matter of 7 years, they were like, oh, we're going to change to OCP. Like, come on, man. all them millions, billions of dollars you spent on that uniform change, and now you're just going to do it all over again. So you can look within the next 10 years, they're going to change uniform again. Freaking ridiculous. I don't know.
I'd be cool with all the changes if they paid for the new uniform.
Exactly. They won't do that because it costs too much money. So don't fucking change the uniform. I mean, I think ACU needed to be changed. I mean, that was just horrendous. That didn't work in any kind of environment.
Like I felt really bad because when I came in 2012, and I got issued the brand new ASUs. But all those people that had to go out and buy ASUs after the greens transitioned out, it's like $400 or $500 get up for the jacket, the 2 shirts, the 2 pairs of pants, the shoes.
Yeah, I think. Well, I kept my boots because I was in the airborne unit, but with my top shirts, trousers, all my awards and all that bullshit, I think I forked out about $600. Yeah, and you know, I love it when people say this. Yes, Eric, you get a clothing allowance. I know that. But how much is the clothing allowance? Maybe a couple $100. So you say use your clothing allowance, but the clothing allowance doesn't cover the entire cost for the ASUs. And what about all the other stuff? Like your boots, a new pair of ASUs or OCPs, whatever the freaking uniform is today. How about new PTs? How about a new freaking reflector belt? How about all that other stuff, a new beret? How about all that other stuff that you need to get throughout the year, and now you have to buy ASUs? Or let's just say you've already got ASUs. Screw it. The yearly allowance you get for a uniform doesn't cover the stuff you need to buy throughout the year. Now, there may be a year or so that goes by that you don't have to buy anything because you just spent, $600, $400, whatever, the past year getting everything up to date or brand new stuff. But that clothing allowance doesn't do anything. It helps offset some of the costs, but it doesn't help to replace everything or buy everything you need. So when people say the clothing allowance, I generally always have laughed in their face. Even when I was private, and NCOs would be like, oh, you need to go buy this, use your clothing allowance. Oh, okay, yeah, sure. So when I get up there and my clothing allowance is now gone, then what am I going to do? Well, that's what you get paid. No, I get paid to pay bills and all that other stuff that I still don't have enough money to pay because I don't get paid enough. Then what am I going to do? So, yeah, the clothing allowance only helps to offset the cost of day-to-day items, such as new PTs, or maybe a new ACU or OCP top, or trousers, or boots, for example. Something like that. It isn't supposed to be to buy a whole new set of ASUs or some craziness like that. And then on top of it, I guarantee that the ASUs, the AFES and all these other freaking stores are making a killing off of the profit. So why doesn't the military? Now I know AFES is privately, well, it's kind of privately funded. I know the military doesn't have control over it, but why don't they do something and say, hey, it's an initial issue, so we cut the price down to like bare minimum. So instead of paying $600, you're going to pay $400, or it's something like that. Or the military give you some kind of voucher that you can use to help pay for the cost for that.
Exactly, like one of the Erics put in the chat that ACUs only had a 6-month lifespan, and I was about to bring that up. 6 months, and my last cooling allowance was $350, somewhere about there.
Yep.
As an E5, but it would cost for a top, bottom, and a new PC would be around $120, $130, and that's without boots, because your boots are gonna get fucked up, and someone's gonna be pissed off. I'm an MP, or I was an MP, so if my boots had a little scuff on them while I was working, all hell breaks loose, because MPs just set the standard and all this bullshit. So my boots had to be perfect. So about once every 6 months, I'd have to buy a brand new set of boots.
You know, I never bought any ACU tops or bottoms, like ever. Every time I deployed, I'd go to Spear and RFI, and I'd get new stuff. Like they'd just give me new stuff. So I lucked out. Never had to buy T-shirts. Never had to buy tops or bottoms. I bought a few pairs of boots and like other stuff. But yeah, I never had to buy any ACU tops or bottoms. And I was always lucky enough that my greens, my Class A's, always fit me. I mean, it teetered on the point sometimes where I may need to get some adjustments or new pants or top or something. But I was always able to PT myself back down to where it fit properly.
And some other bullshit with the ASUs is once you become an NCO, you have to go pay $80 to get that damn stripe down your pants.
Yep. Yeah, I bought it straight out with the stripe, so I didn't have to worry about changing all that crap. But yeah, RFI and Spear and all that stuff, great program. Now, the stuff they gave you was slightly different because if you remember, they had them little square patches on it, and they were supposed to denote that it was a fire retardant type of material. And there was a few times instructions got sent down where you will not wear this in garrison. Okay, fine. So I cut off the square for freaking the little square thing. And I'm like, oh, is that the fire retardant stuff? Nope, no squares on it. Oh, okay. It looks like it though. I don't know. I haven't touched anything. This is what it is. So I always kind of lucked out. But I mean, you could tell the difference, especially when it started fading.
Oh yeah, those shits, once they started fading, they felt like pajamas, which is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
But they started to look like ass after you washed them about 12 times.
Yeah. But every year from 2009 onwards, I deployed. So I was always getting new crap. So I never had to buy any of that stuff. I think maybe twice I actually got new boots as well. I think I got boots, was it from RFI or Spear? I got boots from one of them. And then for one of my deployments, we had like a specific fund. We went out to one of these mountain hiking stores and got some pretty cool boots. So I didn't have to spend any money on that stuff either. So yeah, so the clothing allowance generally kind of did me. I mean, it definitely helped offset some of the stuff. But for some of you guys and gals out there, I mean, the clothing allowance is nowhere near close to what you need to buy all the crap that you need to buy. So, yeah. So for all the NCOs and officers out there that say, use your clothing allowance, yeah, come on. I mean, does your clothing allowance really cover everything? Yeah, I don't think so. It only helps to offset the cost. So, yeah, chill out.
I pissed off my LT one time because I just went out and bought these brand new Rocky boots. They were like $205. And I just bought them, and then like a week later, that's when Sergeant Major Chandler was like, you can't wear these certain boots. They have to look like this. And just went on a rampage, and they were like, hey, you got to go buy new boots. And I was like, I can't afford new boots. Like, use your clothing allowance. I was like, I did. They're on my feet.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, you got to do something. And I just straight up said, I want an open door policy with Sergeant Major Chandler.
Yeah. I mean,
and they were like, go see the battalion Sergeant Major. He can help you. It's like, he will not understand my problem. I want to speak to the Sergeant Major of the Army. They left me alone after that.
Yeah, I mean, what else are you going to do? I mean, you use your clothing allowance to buy something that you need, and then 2 weeks later, they turn around and make a rule against what you just bought, and then it doesn't work like that. I mean, I get it. We're in the Army. You're supposed to do as you're told. I understand that. But it still doesn't work like that. You want me to get new boots? Then you give me new boots, or you give me the money to go get new boots. Apart from that, I can't afford it. So you come up with a solution. WTF Nation Radio, you're on the air.
Yes. My name is Eric Perkins.
What's up,
And
Eric?
I was in Fort Gordon, and when I first got there, we had just started switching over from the VDUs to the ACUs. And everyone's telling me, "Oh, use your clothing allowance to go get the new ACUs and this and that." And I'm like, "Dude, these things are like $120."
Yep.
And then my clothing allowance at the time was like $230. So I'm like, "Okay, 2 pairs and that's it."
Yeah.
And you want me to buy these like $300 pair of freaking combat boots? It's the change in the Army uniform is probably the biggest debauchery I've ever seen in my life. You know, because then you get the stupid Velcro on them stupid things, and they're like, "Be quiet in the field when you're doing this and that." It's complete debauchery.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And, you know, and then I was told I had to get my dress blues because when I first joined, I joined in 03, and we were still using the greens at the time. And they said, well, the new soldiers are going to start getting the new dress blues, or whatever they want to call them now. And that we were fading out the dress whites and the other 19 different dress uniforms we had at the time. What it seemed like anyway. And, you know, so we're standing out there in this formation one day, and in the middle of July, and I have my full dress greens on, and all these new soldiers got their blues on, and I have a sergeant major comes up to me, and he goes, "Oh, well, you haven't switched over yet?" And I said, "Well, you know, sorry, I don't have $900 to freaking spend to have a new uniform tailored for me. You know, sorry about your lot there, buddy."
Yeah.
You know,
it's ridiculous, you know, and I've never understood it. All these NCOs, now I can understand if you're like a sergeant major, first sergeant, whatever, you know, you're going to have that cash laying around. Maybe some of them don't, but they have to make sure they do it because, I mean, they're in a high leadership position. But still, everybody was there at some point in time. Everybody knows that the uniform allowance you get doesn't cover the entire cost of everything you need to spend it on. So,
no.
Especially when they make these stupid changes.
I mean, I was an E6, still wearing my dress greens. You know, I was just like, I don't know what to tell you guys. I can't afford the metal racks. I can't afford the freaking NCO cap. And because I was an E6, they wanted me to get the stupid NCO sword thing. And,
oh, wow.
It was complete debauchery. And then they're like, well,